All right, so we're going to talk about the 10 top 10 advertising marketing books that you need on your shelf, you need to digest, you need to read on a regular basis. I read this one, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I read it once a year or so. It is the most complicated, complex, intricate, scientific book on advertising I think you can find. A lot of people have admitted that they became millionaires thanks to this book. Here's the Robert Collier letter book. Robert Collier wrote his ads selling everything from luggage to raincoats and coal for heating your furnaces. He wrote his ads in the 30s and 40s and 50s, so he knew what would work in the Great Depression. And since we are in a serious economic crisis right now, I thought you might find inspiration in the Robert Collier letter book. It's a bunch of his letters that sold everything. Here's How to Make Your Advertising Make Money by John Caples. You should get anything by John Caples. He wrote, a small handful of books. He was a great advertising man in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I once had a client who sent an ad to Caples for a review and said, "Please, Mr. Caples, tell me what I should do to make my ad better." It was a full-page newspaper ad, and it had a lot of copy in it, and John Caples couldn't be bothered with giving him a long reply. So he just wrote 3 words in the margin of the ad and he mailed it back to him. And the 3 words were, "Needs more copy." So the client added more copy, and lo and behold, it worked. Now, here's another Caples book that I love. It's called Tested Advertising Methods, and please note, this one is the 4th edition. It's a good book. You will learn from it. However, in the years gone by, some fellow created the 5th edition. Fred Haynes. Don't bother getting this book. This is a wasted effort, piece of crap. He takes all the good dynamics out of John Caples' actual thinking, and he stuffs it in with his own opinion that's not very well tested. Get the 4th edition. It's hard to find. You're going to have to go to maybe 8 books or maybe eBay, but get the 4th edition. Don't bother with the 5th edition. Here is Clyde Bedell's book, How to Write Advertising That Sells. He wrote this book in the 40s. It was actually so good that some university marketing professors used this book to teach their class how to write advertising that sells. This is a fascinating book. Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. This guy was a university professor, and he wondered why was he a sucker for love? Was he a sucker for a good sales presentation? So he wrote this whole book analyzing the psychology of sales presentations and why we fall for it. And so once you understand better what we're doing here, trying to sell your product or service, be able to do a better job. Here we go. My Life in Advertising and the book Scientific Advertising by Hopkins. This book came out in 1927 after he had spent a lifetime digesting and becoming an expert advertising man. He first got his start selling patent medicines in the 1800s and keeping records of what worked and what did not work. And he transferred those same ideas into selling Pepsodent toothpaste and Goodyear tires and Swift meat for the Swift meat packing company. And he sold cars and anyway, a lot of stuff that have been household brand names, and he was the genius behind it. In fact, if you look right here, Mr. Ogilvy, David Ogilvy says, nobody should be allowed to touch advertising until he's read this book 7 times. Anyway, I've read it at least a dozen times. Okay, so that, here's one more in the top 10. How to convert white space into advertising that sells. This was created by Clyde Bedell in order to get advertising revenue for the newspaper people. See, the newspaper people wanted people to advertise in the newspaper, and if they weren't going to get good results, then they wouldn't advertise again. So Bedell taught them with this book how to convert white space into advertising that sells, how to convert white space into advertising that sells. So even if that white space is online white space, this is the gem to teach you what to do with that white space. Because once a pair of human eyeballs see it, they need to react. And that's the whole purpose, is not exactly what you say, but the reaction you get. And you want to get the right reaction in order to get the right amount of cash flow going for your company, for your business, for your product. So this was created to teach advertising people, retailers in the 1960s how to be a better advertiser in the newspaper. And since newspaper is not so hot anymore, but online advertising is white space, and it's still, whether it's white space online or white space in the newspaper, this is the tool you need to create the white space or convert it into something that sells. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, one more item. It's the Gary Halbert letter. I had something around here. Hang on, I'll find it in a second. The Gary Halbert letter is mostly online. Christ, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. It's mostly online, but just for show and tell, I have in my hands the Gary Halbert, the boron letters. These are the letters he wrote to his sons while he was incarcerated for mischief. And one more for the complete 10, the $1 Million Mailings. This is a book of 71 different mailing packages that actually made over $1 million in the mail, so it proved that they were good direct mail packages. So you'll discover, when you look in here, you'll discover the layouts and the comments and the copy from each of the mailing packages. And it's a pretty good little tool to have to boost your education and get ideas for how your website should look, or if you're still in direct mail, or how your direct mail can be improved. Anyway, and then those are the 10 books that I think should be on everyone's shelf. And here's some also-rans. Benson's Secrets of Successful Direct Mail. This is a really good book. Here's another one that you might want to get. Ogilvy on Advertising. This is somewhat helpful. Not quite as good as some of the others, but it's got some good illustrations about what is good advertising with some theories in it. And you can't lose by getting this wonderful little book. And understanding that David Ogilvy was one of the pioneers of great advertising. And then also, if you can find Bob Stone's Successful Direct Marketing Methods, you won't lose with that book. Okay? Anyway, there's your assignment for this year. Get all of those books, digest them, and let's talk about it later. Call me 801-895-9598.